A thin whine cuts through the silence of a bedroom at 3 in the morning. A hand moves in the dark, searching the sheets, trying to silence that irritating sound before it lands on skin. It is the most ordinary scene imaginable. A mosquito, a bite, an itch that fades in a few days. Most people kill dozens of these insects over a lifetime without a second thought. Yet this 3-milligram creature, unable to survive a single slap, is responsible for more human deaths every year than any other animal on Earth, more than all sharks, lions, snakes, crocodiles, and wolves combined. It is not strength. It is not venom. It is something else entirely, and it begins long before the bite you actually feel. The mosquito's body seems far too fragile to justify that kind of fear. It weighs less than a raindrop, and its wings beat between 400 and 600 times per second, producing the high-pitched whine that doubles as a mating signal between mosquitoes themselves. But it is the mouth of this insect that reveals its true engineering. The proboscis is not a simple needle. It is a bundle of 6 hair-thin stylets, some serrated to slice through skin with minimal sensation, others built to feel their way toward a blood vessel by touch alone, and one dedicated solely to injecting saliva. That saliva carries natural anticoagulants and mild anesthetics so effective that most bites go unnoticed until minutes later, once the body finally reacts to the foreign substance. Mosquitoes also perceive the world through heat and carbon dioxide, detecting human breath from more than 15 meters away through sensors precise enough to distinguish a person from an animal by the composition of their exhale alone. But all this refined machinery for capture would mean nothing if the behavior behind it weren't even more calculated. Not every mosquito bites. Males feed exclusively on nectar and never touch human skin at all. It is the females that hunt for blood, and not out of hunger. It is a reproductive necessity. The proteins in blood fuel the development of their eggs, and a single female can lay hundreds of them over her lifetime in cycles that repeat every few days. This makes her an extraordinarily methodical hunter. She learns to associate sudden movement with danger, avoids the hours when she's most likely to be swatted away, and adjusts her approach based on a target's body heat. Behavioral studies show mosquitoes can even learn the scent of specific repellents and shift their attack path in response. This is a predator built for speed, adaptability, and near invisibility. And it is precisely this set of traits, multiplied across billions of individuals, that turns into one of the most destructive forces in human history. The construction of the Panama Canal in the early 20th century remains one of the most documented chapters of that threat. Thousands of workers died of yellow fever and malaria before engineers and physicians finally understood that the enemy wasn't the swampy air itself, as many believed at the time, but the mosquitoes breeding in the stagnant water surrounding the work sites. Only after crews began draining pools, installing screens, and eliminating breeding grounds could construction move forward. Decades later, dengue outbreaks became routine across tropical regions worldwide, overwhelming healthcare systems that had barely recovered from the last wave. In parts of sub-Saharan Africa, malaria still claims the life of a child roughly every minute, a statistic so constant it rarely makes headlines anymore, precisely because it never stops. These are not isolated incidents scattered across history. They are the same pattern, repeating on every continent where the right species finds standing water and a human population nearby. And yet almost no one fears mosquitoes the way they fear sharks or snakes. Part of the reason is pure unfamiliarity with the timeline of harm. A shark attack is instantaneous and visible, while a mosquito-borne infection can take days or weeks to surface, making the connection between insect and illness feel abstract rather than immediate. Pop culture reinforces the mismatch. Nature documentaries built entire careers dramatizing apex predators with teeth and claws, while mosquitoes are relegated to comic relief, an annoyance swatted away in a single cutaway shot. Their tiny size works against public perception too. The brain is wired to associate danger with visible mass, not with something that can land on an arm without being felt. The real numbers tell a different story. The World Health Organization has repeatedly identified mosquito-borne disease as the leading cause of animal-related human death worldwide, with malaria alone responsible for hundreds of thousands of fatalities every year, the majority of them children under 5. The danger was never about the insect's size, it was about what it carries, because the mosquito itself is rarely the true killer. It is a vessel. When a female bites an infected host, she draws in parasites or viruses along with the blood meal, and those pathogens then multiply inside her body before her next bite delivers them into someone new. Malaria parasites, dengue and Zika viruses, and the organisms behind yellow fever and West Nile disease all rely on this exact mechanism to spread. A biological relay race the mosquito runs without ever knowing it is infected. This is what separates her from almost every other dangerous animal on the planet. A lion or a crocodile kills through direct confrontation, one death at a time, limited by strength and opportunity. A mosquito kills at scale, silently, multiplying its reach through every bite across an entire population, turning a single infected person into a starting point for thousands of new infections. It is not aggression that makes this insect lethal. It is capacity, the sheer mathematical reach of a creature that reproduces by the billions and touches nearly every warm-blooded life form it encounters. Zooming out, that capacity is not some evolutionary accident or design flaw in nature. Mosquitoes have existed for roughly 100 million years, predating most mammals on Earth, and they occupy a role most people overlook entirely. Countless species of birds, bats, fish, and amphibians depend on mosquito larvae and adults as a primary food source, forming a foundational layer in wetland and freshwater ecosystems across the globe. Removing them outright would ripple through food chains in ways scientists still don't fully understand. Their danger to humans isn't malice. Mosquitoes have no awareness of the diseases they carry, no intent behind the damage they cause. They are simply doing what evolution shaped them to do with total efficiency. Find warm blood, feed, reproduce, repeat. Humans just happen to be remarkably convenient hosts, living in dense populations near the still water these insects need to breed. So, the next time that thin wine cuts through a dark room, it's worth remembering what's actually flying past. Not a monster, and not a mistake of nature. A nearly perfect biological machine, refined over 100 million years to detect, approach, and feed with almost surgical precision. The mosquito was never dangerous because of what it does to skin. It's dangerous because of what it silently delivers afterward, one bite at a time, to millions of people who never even felt it land.